We all have experiences, a rich web of experiences in our life that are truly valuable. And a big part of investing is tapping into what you know. This whole thing is a journey. And I want to just take a moment to congratulate you on taking the first step to be here, because the hardest part of investing is simply getting started. So the first thing here is just the question of why are you here? And as I go through some of these sections, think about it for yourself, what it is that your goal is. So some of the most common reasons why people invest or really are curious about increasing their financial knowledge is, one, to build wealth. But not just that, not just the dollar amount. It's really about financial freedom. And financial freedom looks very different to different people. It's different amounts to different people. But what financial freedom gives you is this feeling of self-empowerment. The no longer needing to depend on other people in order to make decisions for yourself. It's the ability to support your family or your loved ones, to achieve your desired lifestyle, and having the time and space to do what you love. So everyone is driven by slightly different things, and there's different nuances within this, but this is really, at the end of the day, why we focus on investing. So I want you to just take a few seconds to think about, why are you here? What is it about investing that makes you excited or even nervous? It's a money mindset going into it, because there's definitely a reason that you're here, and the reason why you're spending your time, a reason why you're spending your time learning about angel investing. So take a moment to think about that for yourself. And once you have a high level idea of that, it's important to ask yourself, what's getting in the way of your goals? There's something that I call the false financial story, and almost every single person has this, no matter what their income level or their background is. And the false financial story is the root of the way you think about money. And it's these subconscious drivers that a lot of us aren't even aware of, that were ingrained in us since we were children. So a little bit about my false financial story. I come from an immigrant background, and for anyone who has a similar sort of background, or the children of immigrants, when you come from a not super well-off family, you're often ingrained with this idea of scarcity, right? There's not enough to go around. There's always this constant fear of losing and not having enough for tomorrow. And the result of that is that you learn that saving is more important than investing. Because if you don't even have enough for tomorrow or the next week or the next month, you're not thinking about how you can grow it. You're really thinking about, how can I just have enough to get by? And at the same time, another very detrimental part of this false financial story that I acquired was this idea that money was more important than my time. As an entrepreneur, as an employee, a lot of times we're trading our time for dollars. And we're working extra hours. There's this whole mentality of hustle harder, don't sleep, don't invest in rest. That narrative is slightly changing. However, investing is the only type of activity that you can really do consistently to get back time, which is the most scarce resource that you have. So the reason we think about this is, it's really important for you to just become aware of some of these subconscious drivers that might be affecting the way you are or are not investing or setting up even your own goals. So I'm just going to talk about some of these high level things to create some awareness for you as you think about, do I have this or do I not have this? And if this is an issue, how do I overcome this? So again, the first one is loss aversion. Loss aversion is something where we are constantly afraid to lose the money that we have, and therefore it prevents us from taking action. Scarcity mindset, I've talked about this already. The idea that there's not enough to go around, there's not enough for tomorrow, that you are not enough. The lack of urgency, this belief that you can do it tomorrow, you can push it off tomorrow, and then a lack of knowledge, which can be really scary, especially if you don't feel like you have a good grasp on money or financial education in general. The biggest mistake that I want to highlight for you that most people think is that keeping your money in a savings account is the safest route. And even though I'm not making much, at least I'm not losing anything. And this is really the rationale. But especially in the economy right now, as we're looking at the bank savings rate compared to the inflation rate, if the inflation rate is higher, the key point is that if your money isn't working for you, it is actually working against you. If you're not making money, you are literally losing money every day. It's like keeping dollar bills under your mattress. It's not doing anything. In fact, it's depreciating in value every day that you're not reinvesting it. So keep that in mind. And that's really part of this urgency, right? If it's not working for you, it's working against you. So the way that we're going to shift this money mindset, just to set this foundation, is that you look at the best. The best investors are constantly updating their mindset, constantly growing, constantly increasing their knowledge. And they start by becoming aware of their scarcity mindsets and their fears, these false financial stories, and they accumulate knowledge and growth from other role models, other investors. And that ultimately is the only way that you get to a place of abundance and freedom. Practice makes perfect. Loss is a part of the game, but you can't let that loss really affect the way that you think about your own worth and your own deservingness. So in order to shift your mindset, we're just going to go over this pretty quickly. But if you have loss aversion, this is a very, very natural thing for all of us, which is really, what if I lose everything? What if I lose the money I put in? If you are a beginner investor, but even if you're advanced, this is a common mindset. And instead, I want you to go from what if I lose everything? What if everything goes wrong? To what if it goes right? We are so trained to think, worst case scenario, if everything goes wrong, but really challenge yourself to ask the question, what if it goes right? And this is actually the key mindset shift that all angel investors especially need in order for them to be successful 5 to 10 years down the line, which is the average time frame for a startup investment to really reach its peak. If you never try, you'll never succeed. This is, of course, something that we've heard in everything, right? If you don't, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. This goes the same way for investing. The second thing is the scarcity mindset. Not enough to go around. I'm not good enough. I want you to really think about this idea that wealth is abundant. Wealth is something, there's more than enough to go around. Money is cyclical. And part of this is really getting to your own root of how you perceive your wealth, which is this belief that I deserve to achieve my financial goals. I deserve to have the wealth and abundance that I believe in, that I see for myself. I deserve to have that lifestyle. So really rooting yourself in that as you're going into, especially your startup investments. And then this lack of urgency. A lot of us succumb to this. I can just do it tomorrow. It is very hard when you have a ton of emails in your inbox to really think about investing in something as long-term as startups. But again, time is the most scarce resource. That's the one resource we can't get back. And again, if you're not making money, you are losing money. So the sooner you start, the sooner you learn, and the sooner you build wealth. And that is why you are here today. Finally, with this masterclass, there are a lot of people who come in, they say, well, I can't invest because I'm not an expert. I don't know anything about startups. I don't know anything about AI. I don't know anything about cybersecurity or cannabis or blockchain. But I want to remind you that you do know more than you think. We all have experiences, a rich web of experiences in our life that are truly valuable. And a big part of investing is tapping into what you know. This whole thing is a journey. And I want to just take a moment to congratulate you on taking the first step to be here, because the hardest part of investing is simply getting started. So really, really applaud yourself for that, because you're taking time out of your evening to be here with us today.